Alright, g'day there. Richard MUSGRAVE-EVANS here again, and welcome back. 5 or 6 years ago now, I was lucky enough to be artist in residence at the Vulkathunha-gammon Ranges National Park, right in the centre of the Flinders Ranges. Fantastic location, beautiful rugged scenery, and then you've got the stone hut accommodation, so you can paint all day plein air, have a great night's sleep, and then get up and do it all again. Anyway, I did quite a few major works and small studies back then. And now what I want to do is in the studio revisit all those memories and paint a major work. Alright, this should be a bit of fun. It's putting up a bit of a fight. This is going to make a fantastic subject. I've got one in my mind, great composition. I want a really big stretched linen, so that's what I'm doing today. Let's get it all done. Alright. The big stretcher bars with the cross frame, because it's such a big painting. I've got a nice bracing cross braces on the back here. I'm going to just diagonal measure. Just quickly run the tape measure. 95 and a bit, 195 and a bit. If these two measurements are exactly the same, which they're not quite, there you go, 195, this will end up making it square. Now the bonus of stretching your own stuff is, you know how it was built, you can buy good quality stuff, and this is all good quality gear. And also, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to give it an extra coat. This is clear prime Belgian linen, so it's already got a supposed clear primer on it, which it has got, but to make sure that we've definitely got a seal and no oil paint is going to get into the works, what I'm going to do is put an extra coat of clear sealer on it, just as a guarantee in my own mind that it's all good and all ready to go, and over the years the oil paint won't soak into the linen. Because that's what you don't want. You don't want the oil paint soaking into your canvas or linen, because canvas and linen rots with linseed oil. So you need a protective barrier between the linen itself and the painting. Hence the extra protection of having another clear primer on it. So that's just insurance policy, I guess. I want my paintings to last. There we go, good stuff. That's good. Now we've gone there and there. Now what I'll do is I'll go each end this way. Work around. Stretch her up and bang. Alright, let's get this last one folded over. Get a good grip. Stretch. There we go, look at that. Alright, now I'll just keep on working around then, so I'll work from this side to that side, to that side, to that side, and gradually work my way out to the edges and get a nice drum tight linen. Grab hold of that, stretch her off. You can see those pliers work well. Okay, now as we're getting closer to the end, I'll create a fold in here. A nice neat one at that. Like so, and that one folds that way like so. Good stuff. Alright, we've got the big canvas ready to go. Big chunks of white. Fantastic, look at that. How much fun is this going to be? Let's pile tons and tons of oil paint. All fun and games. Big, big, big canvas, biggity big. We'll start with that. We won't go too carried away. We can always open the lid and do more. Right, so as you can see, got the big canvas all ready to go now. Getting all the oil paint ready and then we'll be into it. No worries. Alright, so we'll just have a quick look at the colours. Viridian green, magenta, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, titanium white, and I'll use a bit of cad orange, maybe a bit of cad yellow. Right. Now let's just have a look. Now I've got a study. The study, I'm working from the computer, but the study actually is, let's have a quick look. It's one of my plein air paintings that I sold a few years back. And so what I'm going to do is use that as a guide. I'm going to intensify the sky, but I'm going to use that as a guide to give me the composition that I want. Then I'll build a big, beautiful, what's the word? Dramatic, I guess you could say. Dramatic sky. Contrasting, it should be great. Okay, let's just have a look at what we're going to do. I might just block in with a bit of ultramarine white, just a little palette knife. Just want to feel what's going to happen here. Okay, now, it's obviously a different shape. The last one was a real long, thin one. This one's higher, so I'm just going to work out a few things. I can go about there. We're just practicing for now. This is not set in concrete. Because it's a major work, I want to get everything exactly in the right spot. So I'm just feeling with a few little marks here at the moment. And the blue, why am I using blue? Because it stands out against that linen. It's a complementary colour again, so it stands out quite dramatically. Maybe we'll go that way. It stands out enough for me to be able to see it. I'll go that way a bit now. So I'm not committing to anything just yet too much. Bit more blue and white. Let's just have a look. Just here. And go in there. A bit more of that. A bit more of that action. Something along those lines. Along there. Alright. Alright, well that's got the basic feel of the heels within reason. Beautiful flow lines, just ultramarine blue and white. Okay, now this part of the picture, even though it's just fast lines, it's actually quite important, as you can imagine. It's the basic underlying flow of the whole painting. Takes me back. It's the beauty of painting plein air. It takes me back, because I've got this little plein air study in front of me, an image of it, I should say. It takes me back to the day when I actually painted it. Seems to really when you paint on site, it really gets your memory, it really gets inside your head, so years later you still remember the whole thing, which is great. Alright, let's stand back and have a look. Alright, let's just keep on going here. We'll just getting a few ideas. There's going to be quite a few clouds in this picture, so I'm just getting a bit of an idea for that. And about there. And it may be just like, what are you doing at the moment, but that doesn't matter, it's just filling the composition. That's getting close on what I want now. Alright. Okay, now what I might do is start putting a few things in. What do we got here now? I'll just throw a few darks in first. Now we'll just go for some alizarin crimson. I'm just going to a little bit of pure alizarin crimson, viridian green, makes a really good dark. Just setting the tonal scale, the value scale, so I've got some really good darks, maybe a bit of ultramarine as well, just to darken it all. So we'll put a few of these darkest darks in, and then not too many. Then I'm going to get stuck into the sky. The sky itself. Right, magenta maybe? Let's just go a little bit of magenta. Bit of burnt sienna with that magenta. I want that to be a bit darker there. Okay. I can go along there. Bit more greenery here and there. Just about there. Where are we here? Right, just a little bit of ultramarine with that blue. Just neutralise it a bit with a bit of the opposite of the colour wheel, which ultramarine is the opposite of burnt sienna. So that gives me a bit of a dark tone in that corner to work with. I'll get stuck into some more in a minute. Okay, let's go for some ultramarine blue, white. I'm going to throw a bit of burnt sienna, and I'm trying to neutralise this blue so it's not quite as intense. Magenta, magenta, ultramarine blue. Going to make it quite a dark tone. The burnt sienna is going to knock it back and make it slightly greyer. More magenta, I want it to be dark. Trying to get a dramatic effect, so you've got to lower the key of the painting, the tonal key, by using a little bit less white. Let's just have a look. Right. A bit more magenta. Start laying it in now. Getting the paint on. Getting up to the edges nice and neat. Just take a little bit of time to get this edge neat. Alright, now I'm going to need more magenta. I'm going to use the cartridge, let's just get that out. These cartridges are good. There we go. More magenta, right. A little bit more white with that. A little bit more burnt sienna. So it's a different type of tone. That was the dark, dark, dark of the sky. This is going to be a little bit more the cloud cover. Yes, keep going with that brown and magenta, just altering the tone, the colour. So look at that. Not too bad. Okay, now it may look like I'm going very dark in the sky, but what I've done is, by just having the blue itself, it'd be a very intense, strong colour, but by mixing a bit of burnt sienna and magenta with it, it's graded off. And so what I'm doing is I'm lowering the whole tonal value of the whole painting, getting it into a lower key, so that way when I paint the thunderstorm clouds and the accents, they'll jump at a much higher rate than if I'd painted the whole thing at a higher key. So everything is basically a darker tone and slightly grayed off. Plenty of paint, big dramatic sky. A bit more blue. A bit more magenta. A generalised dark tone. Keep on drawing with the paint. Right. More blue, more white, more burnt sienna, knock it back a bit. Really deep dark colours, magenta. Where are we going here? Drawing with the paint. On she goes, on she goes. Where are we here? All right. There we go. Got that one on. Bit through there. That's all going okay, I guess. So what are we going to do now? A bit more magenta. There's plenty of magenta in this. Plenty of magentas. Tons of ultramarine blue in this sky. Where am I going here? That can be there, in my head, there, there. Right. more magenta than that. Magenta there. Go to some more of the blues, ultramarine blue and white, lighter tone. Lighter tone. Just thrash the paint on. Bit of magenta and white dominant in here. I'm just making a variety of clouds, etc. Ultramarine blue again, where are we? I just go really light here, ultramarine blue. So it's all the cool colours so far. All cool, and I'll start putting warmer ones on once I finally get around to all that. But first, let's just get all the surface area within reason, get it covered within reason. There. A bit more blue in that, that's better, that's what I wanted. Right, okay, now I'm going to go for, that was ultramarine blue, I'm just going to go for a little bit of cobalt blue. The ultramarine's got a bit of red in it. But what I want to do is create a slightly green blue as the sky is getting a little bit lower, so I'm going to go for ultramarine. Tiniest bit of burnt sienna or a yellow ochre, and then I'll make it greener. Let's have a look. That's all very good, but of course, I'm being way too stingy. Here we go. It's got to get some paint. Get some paint on there. That's better. That's better. Right, there we go. Yeah. Now you can see it's got a green, slightly green tinge about it. And that is because it's lower in the sky. A bit more white. Obviously as it goes up it gets more of the normal blues to match this one. Now I'm mixing on the board instead of mixing on the palette. Going crazy. Too much stuff to block in, so it doesn't really matter which way you do it, just as long as it gets there. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter how you get the paint and the colours on there. Mix, 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 mix. Just getting a feel for it all. All right, let's have a look. All right, getting there. Now, next thing is I've got a rough impression of the sky, so now let's go for a little bit of this lower stuff, eh? What are we going to do? Keep going with that burnt sienna. Just rough a bit of that in. With alizarin, just knock it back a bit. A little bit of blue will just send it slightly darker, so it's not competing for attention. So with the burnt sienna, I've got a little bit of blue. Any blue will do. A bit of yellow ochre. Some of those greens from in the sky, might as well not waste that. You can use that in your mixture, because that'll be a mixture of white and bluish, and that'll help you get some of the tones a bit more blue to knock it back. Less chromatic saturation. Oh, what fun. Stuck into these hills. Keep slapping the paint on. Darker, darker, darker. So I'm going more clean burnt siennas and blues and less white. Bit of red. I'm going to darken this area so it's not catching your eyes. Your eyes tend to work away from dark and head more towards the light source. Keep on going with all this, get a coverage, a bit more magenta and ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Random marks going this way and that way. Getting a general feel. What do we got? Viridian green, yellow ochre, Viridian green and burnt sienna, so it's a slightly darker tone. The burnt sienna with the Viridian green will make it slightly darker. That's what I want, slightly darker tones. Just sticking a bit of foliage in. Go. A few trees here and there kicking about. Let me just have a look at what's going on, eh? Alright, well that's all sort of coming together how I want. Okay, well let's go for some cad orange. Just keep on moving around as if we're painting plein air. We want the same powerful energy as if we were working direct from site, like the original painting was. So I'm just throwing a few warm and cool tones, good variety. A bit of orange here and a bit of orange there. Yes. Yep. Okay, stick some in here. Starting to wear some, starting to wear it. Let's just clean the fingers up. Here comes the sun. It's like a plein air painting. When the sun comes out, it gets brighter. Now I can see more. What can I see? I can see that I need to put a little bit more of those browns in there. Now I'm going to lighten the tone, change tack a bit. Yellow ochre, white, a little bit of cad orange maybe. Where are we? Someone comes down here. Okay. That one will go down there, just blocking them in a little bit in my mind here before I set them in concrete. See Have a little bit of blue in there from the sky just to make it slightly greener. So we've got a bit of variety. Well, that was a bit too light in tone. I'll darken up there with a bit of yellow ochre and cads. A bit more yellow ochre and cad colours, a bit less white. Pull that through. Pull some of that through. Purposely dragging it a bit because the linen's a nice colour and it's kind of like the colour of the hills that I want to paint. Purposely dragging it and letting the linen show through, which is can be quite a good thing, I reckon. Let's have a look at that. Alright, well, things are sort of getting there. Let me have a look. Right, let's go back more for this yellow ochre, bit of the sky blues. Trying to paint one of the keyed down colours again because I'm getting back into the shadow, into here. Slice some of that on. Okay. Alright, let's just, we'll leave that for a minute. We'll leave that, and what we'll do is do a quick bin run. It's an interesting technique, isn't it? It's like plastering a wall, I'd say. Alright, now, what am I going to do? I reckon next, I've blocked a lot of that in and I've blocked a lot of this in, but now I'm going to block in a few of the lights on the sky, so the light warmer tones, and we'll see how we go with that one. Just stand back first and have a bit of a look and see what I reckon. Alright, let's go, eh? Let's go. Move that out of the way. Move some of that over there. Give myself a nice clean spot to work. Okay. White is obviously going to be a key player. Yellow ochre. Bit of burnt sienna. Let's see what we got here, eh? Mix it a bit more with a bit more white. I can hear the chooks playing up a bit. Got the chooks just outside. It's a bit of fun. A bit more burnt sienna. What do we got here? Burnt sienna. Burnt sienna dominant. That's nice, yeah. A bit more of that in there. A little bit of it there. A bit more burnt sienna. Let's throw those warmer tones in. What is that noise? Who knows? Let's just get some more white again. Cleaner white this time with hardly any influential colours. Maybe a bit of yellow ochre. Trying to lighten that tone right off so I can get the full tonal range. Well, what fun then. Full tonal range. Where are we here? these colours up. Start blending them with some of those other tones that I had in earlier. So we're getting a combination of all of it. Blend them together a little. Pour all these blues into each other. Wipe that clean. Taking a little bit of paint off there rather than putting it on. Let's have a look what we got. Right, a bit more clean blue, ultramarine blue, fairly dark tone. What do we got here? Just want to clean up some of these areas with some clean blue. It's all about warm and cool colour mixes. Bit more blue up in there. A little bit more ultramarine blue back in there. Right, now what I might do is, what have we got? Let's just get a few more, a little bit more coverage. Splash the paint, there's a dog. Splash the paint around. Alright. Like this clean, I just want to clean this area because I'm about to put a nice highlight in there, so get some of the paint off these areas. Rather than adding, get it less paint. So when you apply your beautiful highlights, they won't get so muddy, will they? It's all about dancing around and getting that paint on. Right, where are we? White. White. Big, beautiful blob of white there. Move that. A little white there, a little bit over here, bit in there, what I might do is just grab one of my massive brushes. I just grab a massive brush, and what I'm doing is just going to soften a little bit because skies are extremely soft and a brush is by far the quickest way to get that softness. Now, I've got to say, applying the paint, I love putting tons on with the palette knife, but you can see here, I can really get that softness. Right. Getting this and moving it around. We'll do the combination of both, but what I'm trying to do first is just get a feeling of softness, because like I said, the sky needs to be particularly soft, and that'll contrast dramatically with the big chunky hills. Good varying marks. A little bit more softness in here, pull through. Just very lightly touching. It's really softening it up, so when I put the highlights on, they can really pop. Alright. Alright, clean knives. Clean knives. We got a bit of cat orange. Just pop a bit of white with that, see what colour we actually get. It's starting to pop, but I'm going to go for a bit of... Let's go for some cad with the orange, cad yellow and orange to make the type of orange that I want, which is really high key, so it needs a little bit more yellow in it. With the orange, I'll pre-mix it over here till I get the blend, the brew I want. So I've got a bit of white, bit of orange, bit of yellow. Mix it up, mix. Just have a look, we'll put that one on instead. That's more like what I'm after, a real high key orange. White, bit more yellow, bit more white, to lighten her up, get a real contrast. That there. That is a nice bright colour. She's popping there. Just going to add a little bit here and there. Right. A bit more yellow. Bit more yellow ochre with that now. I'm just going to knock it back a bit so the next lot of colours aren't quite as bright as that one. So it's more yellow ochre with those cad colours. Lightly drag it on to give the feeling of foliage, ruggedness, those rugged mountains. Drop that in there, that one in there. This, I've got to say, is fun. This is fun. Right, dancing around, getting all these colours done. There's just always so much to be done on such a big painting. All right, magenta, white, ultramarine blue, half mix. What are we going to do here? Just throw some of that in so you get a real distinct difference here and there where you need it. Bit of Viridian green mixed up with that. What do we got? Viridian green, yeah, that looks good. Keep going with some of that. A few blues here, popping in, whatever. Viridian green. Where are we? Right, we'll paint. Viridian green mainly. Just going to pop some beautiful trees on the horizon here of this little foreground hill. It's a great spot to get them to jump. few trees here and there, right. A bit more of that viridian green. A couple of trees popping here and there. Alright, things are starting to happen, which I'm pretty happy about, as you can imagine. Just keep on keeping on. Maybe a bit of burnt sienna or whatever. I'm just trying to do a key down version here, just slightly lowering key. Got the cads, but I'm knocking it back with some of the blues and browns. Trying to diminish its intensity just here. It's just a play of different things. Just go like this. Okay, jumping around, dancing around. Good stuff. Go for the brightest cad colours we can find again. With a bit of white to lighten it and really intensify it. A bit more orange, so I've got orange and yellow. Right, what are we going to do here? Okay. Really accent that one, bring that one out. Get it to pop in certain areas. Okay. Just constantly keep working around now. Put some of these yellow ochres and viridian greens, just a few bits of foliage. In the shadows itself. Alright. Picking out a bit here and there where you think it's needed. Alright, just keep working round and round and round. Just adding bits and pieces where you feel it's necessary. And then standing back and analysing. There's got to be a lot of analysing going on as well, because when you're this close to such a big painting, sometimes it's very hard to see what the colours is going on. So you need to stand back and have a look. But I'll just stick a little bit more on here and there, and then I'll stand back and have a look. Just going to go for some clean blues, really light blue tones. The opposite of what was going on earlier. I was putting a lot of lights in the warm tones, but I'm also going to stick some white highlights with blue. That's about right, yeah. Those chooks are still going for it. Pull through, right. Alright, go for some blues and whites, just restate a few things that may have got a little lost, some of the underside of the clouds. It's all about feel now. Like, you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to underdo it. You just want it right. It's not asking too much, is it? Alright, so we just got to keep on moving around. We're getting a lot in now, so which is great, obviously. Just got to keep on moving around now. Oh, watch out I don't cut myself with this knife. These knives get sharper and sharper as you're painting and scraping the paint off. They slowly build up a real sharp edge. And when you wipe like that, if you're not careful, you got your finger in the way, you'll know about it. Anyway, let's just have a look. I think we're certainly starting to get a lot of the painting in now, which is good, obviously. Just wiping that knife clean as I go. It's all about, I need to stand back a lot with this now so I can really analyse the balance and see what's going on. But on the whole, I'm pretty happy with what's going on. There's a lot of the raw canvas showing through. As you saw, we built up the layers. Started with mainly the sky, left a lot of the raw canvas, and now just add as much colour as you need and try and leave as much raw canvas as possible. I shouldn't say canvas, it's actually linen, pure Belgian linen with a clear primer. But try and leave as much of that beautiful linen as showing as possible, and it becomes part of the subject. And actually, because the flinders are very rocky and arid, lightly dragging the paint across and leaving it leaves those little kind of drag marks, and it gives a feeling of rocks and little bushes and arid sort of stuff like that. So pretty happy with what's going on with that effect. Now I purposely deepened the blue in that sky, really put a low key blue. As you saw, I mixed up a lot of burnt sienna and magenta into it to knock it down into a deeper tone. The reason I did that was so I could really accent here with these darker tones. They really jump against each other. And also it puts a lot more drama in the clouds. You can get a bigger tonal range, a bigger value range, I guess. So, kind of happy with what's going on. I'll do a little bit more, but we're winding it in now, that's for sure. Clean a bit of a spot. Now I'll go for more of that burnt sienna with a bit of white. Just for lower in the sky, it's a little more of those colours and tones. Let's just have a look. Just a bit of yellow ochre in that. That's it. All right, well, I think I've got the picture. I'm pretty excited about what's going on now. I really feel like I've captured what I was after. Now, initially, as you know, about 5-6 years ago, I did that small plein air study. I was really happy with it, and I thought I could enlarge it and increase the drama. While I was there painting, I was there for a couple of weeks painting. During that time, there were some massive thunderstorms, and I thought, when I get home, if I incorporate that into that small plein air piece, which already had a few clouds chuffing around, I could really get something. So I did that, really happy with it. Now down the track, it's great to revisit the subject because your style over the years develops. And I've become more and more of a knife painter over the years, and ever so slightly techniques, even though basically I feel like I'm painting the same way, I can see that over the years I've just developed that knife technique in a few different ways. So it's great to revisit the same subject was the same enthusiasm, and just see the way you handle it and see the slight variances. Anyway, really excited about what's going on here. I really feel like in this particular piece I've got some beautiful sliding opalised colours where the colours are just blending together in amongst each other. Probably a bit more than the original one. And I'm pretty happy with the sky. I feel like I've got the drama up there, contrasting dramatically with the beautiful lit up landscape. Anyway, enough about all that. Why don't we just get that camera off and have a buzz around and we'll have a close up and see what you guys think. All right.